Good afternoon, everybody. Please, if you could just remain standing for me. Members, it is my sad duty to inform you all of the death of a former member of this council. Robbie Britton served as a city councillor in the late 1970s, 80s and 90s, representing East Ward. Former councillor Britton sadly passed away in May this year, 2026. I ask all present, therefore, to join me in a minute's silence in memory of former councillor Britton. Thank you, everybody. Please remain standing. Please welcome the Mayor's Chaplain, Michelle Dullaston, who will say prayers for us this afternoon.
So, dear friends, as we gather today, as we remember Councillor Britton and all that he has done, as we gather with much on our minds, coming from busy days, hectic schedules, our many and varied responsibilities and cares, concerns for others and the needs of our roles and our own lives. We come from a world with many challenges. So let us now take a moment to pause and prepare for the meeting ahead. So let us pray. Almighty God, we gather as your people, chosen and precious in your sight. We ask that you will be with us in all things, in the business of this meeting that lies ahead, in the life of our city, our nation and our world. So we pray for openness of heart and mind, grace in our speaking, kindness for one another, compassion in our considerations, and wisdom in our decisions. Help us always to remember the needs of those we serve. Bless our Mayor, our leader, and the officers of the Council. Bless our councillors and all who are here today. Help us as we work together, and bless our community, our families, and our homes. God of all people, for your love's sake, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Michelle. Please be seated. I'd like to welcome members, those in the public gallery and those watching on live stream to this meeting this afternoon. I will now hand over to the Head of Constitutional Services to go through some housekeeping points.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. Can all those present please ensure that mobile phones are set to silent? In the event of an evacuation, please exit through the doors at both ends of the chamber, following council staff to the assembly point. As per normal rules, if you wish to speak, please ensure that you raise your hand and you'll be invited to address the meeting. The Mayor has confirmed he is happy for members to stand or remain seated, whichever you feel the most comfortable when addressing the chamber. All votes will be taken via the electronic voting system this afternoon. If a recorded vote is requested, this will be taken in the normal way. There's also the points document on your tables. If you wish to raise a point, please raise the pink document and address the Mayor accordingly, stating which point you are raising. Finally, I'd like to remind members that this meeting is being live streamed, so please make sure when you speak you are clearly heard through the microphone system, and remember to turn off your microphone at the conclusion of your contributions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Agenda item 1 then is apologies for absence, please. I'll now ask the monitoring officer to give apologies for absence that have been received.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I have received apologies from councillors Imtiaz Ali, Ayres, Barkham, Elsie, Hemraj, Jenkins, Knight, Mahmood, Nawaz, O'Neill and Rafiq. Councillor Farouk is running late and is likely to be 10 minutes late. Councillors Skibstead and Ormston have advised they are running late due to prior engagement and expect to be here about 3:30. And Councillor Day has also advised she'll be delayed, but would hope to be in the meeting by 4:15. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask if any members present are aware of any other apologies for absence not read out by the monitoring officer? Councillor Cam.
I'd like to offer apologies from Councillor Kura McBal, who said he will be late. He's stuck on the A16.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Reeve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor O'Neill is unable to make it to the meeting. And could I just raise a concern about the change in the timing of this meeting, which has possibly led to lots of these councillors not being present today, and more importantly, members of the public not being able to make it to this meeting today. Although there was some notice given, it wasn't much, and it shows a clear lack of regard to the democratic process of this council to be changing meeting times at that rate.
Thank you, Councillor Reeve. It was for apologies, but I appreciate your point. Thank you, Shanna. Anybody else? Councillor Wiggin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as Councillor Ormston walks in, Councillor Hogg appears to be running late. We're also aware that Councillor Geraghty is running late as well for childcare issues. I believe Councillor Hogg also wanted to raise a similar issue to Councillor Reeve in regards to the notice of the change of meeting not being passed through group leaders as is stipulated in the Constitution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any others? No, there's no others. Right. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members on any of the items of business today on the agenda for this afternoon? Councillor Rush.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the record of executive decisions, item G, South Hills Primary School SEND Specialist Unit. I am a governor of South Hills Primary School, and it is registered on my non-pecuniary and other interests on the website.
Okay, thank you. Noted. Yeah, that's duly noted. Thank you very much. Anybody else? No, thank you very much. Item 3 is minutes of previous meetings. I'd like to propose the approval of the minutes of both the mayor making and the annual meeting held on the 18th of May 2026. Councillor Shabina Kayam, I understand that you are happy to second.
I am indeed, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. If there's no objection, I will take these minutes as agreed. All agreed? Thank you. Agenda item 4 is Mayor's announcements. You've got what we've been up to, myself and the Deputy Mayor and the Mayoresses. I have no further major announcements to make today other than the Charities Committee did meet yesterday and we've got a lot of work to do. So when you start seeing things coming out, events, or if you know nobody that can help run an event, please get in touch. But I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much. Leaders' announcements then. Councillor Shabina Kayam, I understand you wish to make an announcement this afternoon. You have 5 minutes when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It gives me great delight in actually describing these announcements, because I'd like to begin this afternoon by highlighting the new grant scheme, which was just launched as part of the £40 million Pride in Place funding for Paston, Gunthorpe, Welland and Orton's, Malbourne and Golhay. Pride in Place will bring around £2 million a year into each of those areas over the next decade. And the new summer Pride in Place grant scheme will provide grants in 2 tiers of up to £500 and up to £5,000 to support projects that bring people together, create opportunities for children and families during the school holidays, and improving local neighbourhoods. Up to £50,000 has been allocated to each area for this first round of funding. Eligible projects could include summer clubs activities, communities events, environmental improvements or initiatives that strengthen local pride and community spirit. Interested groups can get further information by emailing prideinplacegrants@peterborough.gov.uk, so get applying. I'm also pleased to share with members that progress has been made on developing a plan for how we will spend the £1.5 million Pride in Place funding for our city centre. Today, the planters have already gone up, if you've seen on socials. Since the announcement was made last year, we consulted with a wide range of partners, including local businesses and Peterborough Positive, as part of plans to develop projects that will help boost the city centre. Watch this space for more information. You will all be aware that works will get underway next week for the CityLink project, the first phase of the £65 million scheme to breathe new life into our railway station and the land around it. This project will transform our city centre and create a more welcoming and safer route from the train station. There will be disruption for people whilst the works are taking place. We're sorry about that. We cannot avoid that, so we're asking people to leave extra time for their journeys and avoid the area if possible. We will also look at how we can flex and adapt during the works to keep disruption to a minimum. But please help us to share the message with the public and support this game-changing, once-in-a-generation regeneration project for our city. Last week, I had the privilege of attending the 4th Domestic Abuse and Sexual Violence Conference hosted by the Council with over 150 professionals from across the city and beyond. And it was a fantastic opportunity for people to come together, network, and learn all about different aspects of domestic abuse. Local agencies attended to share the work they are doing in Peterborough, with inspiring people coming to speak as far off as Newcastle, including those who could offer first-hand experience of domestic abuse. On the same day, our council launched a campaign which I would ask all of you to support, and it's called Is It Normal? It's inspired by true stories from domestic abuse victims and was created with the knowledge that many abuse survivors use online platforms to seek answers to help clarify their thoughts during times of confusion. This might be asking, is it normal to be told to be quiet when out in public? 2, in more severe cases, is it normal that they lock me in the house without a way of escape? We must all reject the culture of misogyny and masculinity that exists in a society and call it out when we see it. This is also relevant in the world of politics. We have a duty of care to make sure we respect women who are our colleagues. I would also encourage everyone to stand up against male violence by signing up as a White Ribbon ambassador or champion. With the very hot weather we've been experiencing of late, it's a good chance to raise awareness of the dangers of swimming in rivers, lakes, or in open water. And I ask everyone in the chamber this evening to help with this. This council partnered with Cambridgeshire Fire and Rescue Service to produce a powerful video telling the story of a son of Peterborough, 16-year-old Jack Lloyd, who died at Farset Lakes last year after entering the water. I met his parents on the opening of the screening, which was premiered at Odeon Cinema in Queensgate, and there was not a dry eye in the house. Is now going to be used in secondary schools to educate young people of the potentially fatal consequences of open water swimming. And I'd just like to congratulate everyone involved in producing this powerful video. Vinny Ferreira, who is one of our comms team members, I want to give him a shout out by name because he worked so hard on that. And my hope is that it raises awareness and helps save lives. And I'm pleased to say that entries have been flooding in for our inaugural Spark Awards. The awards are designed to shine a light on the dedication, care, and innovation of everyone who works with or for the children in our city, from professionals and frontline staff to volunteers and community champions, and in fact, anyone who works with children in our city.
Councillor Cam, could you sum up, please?
I will sum up. Finally, I'd like to say a big well done to our waste and recycling team who took home the Bronze Award in the Environmental Services category at the recent National LGC Awards, the Rolls-Royce of awards in the country. It recognises our partnership with the RB7 Arts Centre to show how environmental action can directly support our communities, helping families access free school uniforms while keeping textile waste out of landfill. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Group leaders then, I have granted you all 2 minutes to respond. Sorry, what's going on? Yes, What's your point of order?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I could hear you very well, but I'm sorry, I had real difficulty hearing the leader speak, and I'm wondering whether it's because the speakers are pointing up at the ceiling. I don't know whether anybody else had difficulty. I had to turn around and follow your lips to understand
It should
what
be
you're
coming
saying.
out of that as well.
Not working.
Okay, well, we'll have to have a look at that, see what's going on. Thank you. Thanks for letting us know. Okay, we'll continue then. Group leaders, as I said, you've got 2 minutes to respond. Firstly, I'd like to invite Councillor Wayne Fitzgerald, Group Leader for the Conservatives.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll start off by saying I fully support your decision to move the time of the meeting. I'm sure there are others in the room as well that also agree with that. Some may not agree, but that's democracy. And I'll be as brief as I possibly can be because I don't want a red card. So, I would just like to echo some of Councillor Kayoum's thoughts in terms of it's great to get that money, grant money coming into the city, wherever it comes from, whatever government of the day. It's fantastic news for the city. And I'm sure Councillor Howard will be pleased to hear, because he's got a question on the very same thing, I believe, a little later. He'll be interested to learn about the city centre plans for that grant funding as well. And also on the station quarter, whilst I agree it's inconvenient. Some may not agree with 1,000 tonnes of concrete or whatever it is being poured into a hole. There might have been better ways to do it, but hey, it's great that the work the Conservatives started on the regeneration in the city continues. And I won't go on too long because I won't say much more on the tragedy of the a young boy that died in Facet, but I noticed in the news another one yesterday in London. So it is something that was worth highlighting, and well done to the team for doing that. And finally, I will echo the thanks and the big well done to the waste and recycling team who took home that award, Mr. Mayor. I'll shut up and we don't need to go into extra time.
Thank you, Councillor Wayne Fitzgerald. Councillor Alex Bowerbanks, on behalf of the Group Leader for the Greens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is unfortunate Councillor Skipstead could not be here today due to the change of time, so I will deliver the words on her behalf. I would like to start by endorsing that it is good news there is some funding via Pride of Place for community groups in Orton and also in Paston, Gunthorpe and Welland areas. Unfortunately, since the announcement of this funding last year, it is taking a long time to establish the boards where residents can feed in their views on what is needed in their areas, and indeed, as local and parish councillors of many years standing in the Ortons, we have not yet been given any involvement in this project. There are many areas suffering severe neglect in terms of the outside spaces and parking, and these are issues constantly raised. We sincerely hope that following this announcement, we see the board set up and some real consultation for local residents so that they can start to see their views are being taken seriously and that there is visible action on these areas. The CityLink work starting next week will without a doubt cause disruption, but we hope it does not bring the centre of the city to a standstill. The plans for the future for the station quarter do look innovative and exciting, but the council will need to monitor the level of disruption carefully as work gets underway, as it is as yet an unknown quantity. The White Ribbon campaign is such an important initiative, and as the leader mentions, very relevant in our political arena, where we need to encourage more women to enter by making it a more accessible and welcoming environment. It is great that our waste and recycling team have received an award. They do a great job and are always willing to run events in any area of the city to educate around recycling and waste. There is more that can be done. In my parish council in Orton Longville, we have recently introduced the publishing of QR codes in designated areas which give a direct link to Fix My Street, a way of making reporting waste and fly tipping easier for local residents. Lastly, I would like to mention that on Sunday, the Palestine Solidarity Campaign organised another peaceful, well-attended march along Lincoln Road and Family Day at Stanley Park, where Palestinians still suffering in Gaza and the West Bank were remembered and supported with solidarity and compassion.
Councillor Bowerbanks, have you concluded?
I've got last line.
Go on then.
Sorry, thank you. Thanks to the Council for support and the cooperation of this important annual event. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Finally, Councillor John Bolton, Deputy Leader for Reform UK.
I haven't done this since I was sworn in as a juror. So anyway, Mr Mayor, councillors and officers, Reform may only have 5 councillors, only 4 today. We represent 27% of the people who voted in the local elections. That's a significant proportion of Peterborough residents, yet we have no seat on the Cabinet table. Our role is to scrutinise decisions, but cannot if they take place behind closed doors. We are particularly concerned about the proposed £65 million station development. I know £48 million is coming from central government, but that is still a substantial investment from us. Large projects have a history of escalating in cost. Peterborough already seen many expensive schemes over the past 15 years has left the taxpayer footing the bill. At a time when many wards are struggling with the decline of basic maintenance and local services, the priority should be to look after the communities we already have. Before pursuing ambitious developments in the council, it must demonstrate it meets its existing responsibilities to the residents. Finally, on misogyny, I welcome Councillor Sabina's comments to tackle sexism. Sorry. There is no place for it in politics or anywhere else for that matter. However, I hope those words are matched by actions and not hollow. The departure of Daisy Credence highlighted concerns how alleged allegations of
Councillor
sexism...
Bolton, can you sum up as soon as possible? We've gone over, so I'll let you go
yeah,
for a few
okay.
seconds, because obviously we did the same with Councillor Powell-Butts.
where it's just allegations of sexism were handled with the Labour Party here in Peterborough. I sincerely hope...
Sorry, Councillor Bolton, would you sit down a minute for me?
Yeah, sure.
With a point of order, Councillor Cam.
Yeah, I'm going to give a point of accuracy, here, that actually there were no complaints of sexual allegations on behalf of Daisy Breakmore Creed into the Labour Party. That is factually incorrect. And with relevance to everything else you've said, just read one document, the corporate priorities or corporate strategy of Peterborough City Council. You have all the information granted to you about why we're spending what, where and what our statutory services are and our other capital projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Your time's up anyway, but thank you very much for that. Agenda item 6 then is questions from members of the public. There have been 6 questions submitted by members of the public to this meeting. The Council standing orders allow 30 minutes to consider these questions. Any questions that cannot be answered during this period will be dealt with by a written answer. We have received 2 questions from Mr. Story. Mr. Story has given notice that he is unable to attend this meeting, and in accordance with paragraph 16.7 of the Council standing orders, I have therefore decided that these questions will be taken as read and written responses will be provided to the questioner. Question number 3 is from Mr. Justinski. I hope I pronounced that right. Would you like to ask your question in relation to delivery of the Roman Fields neighbourhood equipped area for the play area, NEEP, and multi-use games area, the Mugger? You have 3 minutes in which to do so.
Good evening, everybody. I move that full council resolves to: number 1, publish within 14 days of delivery timetable for Roman Fields and neighborhood equipment area for play and multi-use games area. That's number 1. Number 2, report back to the September meeting with confirmed site start date. And number 3, failing that, release 20,000 accurate interest for interim goalpost and 10 benches by 31st of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cam, would you like to respond? You have 3 minutes in which to do so.
Thank you. I'd like to turn to Mr. Jasinski and actually address you. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm really sorry that you and the residents have had to face this predicament. So please accept our apologies for the predicament that residents have had to face. Now, in terms of answering your question, Mr. Jasinski, I have to say that the current lack of facilities on the Roman Fields development is not acceptable, okay? And we're working proactively to resolve the issue. I'll give you some more information on timeline shortly. But it's a very complex issue, and it's arisen from a combination of historical planning issues that have stemmed since the 1990s, as you know, and also the much needed expansion of the school that has taken place, and also the fact that the developer hasn't been able to meet the trigger point of 750 dwellings by which they are obliged to hand over a piece of land south of the school, which was envisaged as community land. Now, furthermore, until recently, the developer has used the other proposed community land south of Arkwright Drive as a development compound, and there is the need to remediate it before play facilities can be installed. So there's a slight complexity around that issue. Now, in terms of the deadlines in 14 days, what I will reassure you is, and be open and honest with you, it will be difficult to meet the 14-day period. It's important to be honest with you on that perspective, but what I will say is that by the end of July, we'll be meeting with stakeholders in the interim to decide about what is needed within those development areas, and by the end of July, we should be forthcoming with a plan as to how we are going to implement those much needed facilities. So I hope that's given you a bit of reassurance.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Mr. Jasinski, do you have a supplementary question? No, no supplementary. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Do you have one? No. Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Cam, thank you. Question 4, that's from Mr. Lyndhurst. Sorry, Ms. Lyndhurst. Ms. Lyndhurst has given notice that she is unable to attend the meeting. So in accordance with paragraph 16.7 of the Council Standing Orders, I've decided that the question will be taken as read and a written response will be provided to the questioner. Question number 5 is from Dr. Rogers. Dr. Rogers, would you like to ask your first question in relation to Manor Drive Roman Fields development? You have 3 minutes in which to do so.
Thank you. So my 2 questions are actually very much related. They've got a preamble, so I might as well deliver them together if that's okay. So firstly, on 22nd of May 2026, the Council confirmed to the Peterborough Telegraph that it holds Section 106 monies for the Manor Drive Roman Fields development. 524,000 for a community centre received in November 2022 and 63,000 for play facilities received in October 2023, neither of which to date have been constructed. The same council statement said that due to, quote, increased construction costs, the funds are no longer sufficient on their own and that community facilities money needs to be used in an alternative way. Can the leader confirm, 1, what is the specific alternative way the council plans to spend the 587,000 in community facilities contributions? And 2, on what date was this change of use formally approved by full council? And were Manor Drive Roman Fields residents consulted before this decision?
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Councillor Cam, would you like to respond? You have 3 minutes in which to do so.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rogers, for your question. Now, plans are having to change, and that's because of the costs and changes to the available land associated with that and the timings as well. Now, the council is treating provision of the remaining community facilities as a priority and is committed to implementing a solution as quickly as possible, like I said. So I've sort of given a brief timeline by the end of July, but that will be in consultation with the stakeholders, such as the residents, such as the local ward councillors and with the MP too. And that is what we're preparing, a plan of action which can be hopefully supported by all. And that was meant by the statement that the community facilities monies need to be used in an alternate way because of those changes. So what I'm going to do is take away a task to ask the Director of Place and Economy to keep me posted of those timelines so that we can keep you abreast of those developments, because we can't just simply leave it at that. It's easy for me to say words here, but I'm committing to it. And actually, we are an administration that has delivered on many promises. Historically, the Dementia Resource Centre, the Industrial Hub, and we promise that we will get this delivered to you as well.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Dr Rogers, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, thank you for your response there, Councillor Kayum. On the back of that then, could you confirm, please, that you are ring-fencing this £587,000 plus all interest accrued since it was paid over to the council for the specific purpose of building a community centre and 2 new play areas for Manor Drive Roman Fields residents?
Thank you, Dr Rogers. Councillor Cam, you have 2 minutes in which to respond.
Thank you, Dr Rogers. As is already quite known, the money is in the bank. It's there to be spent. Whether it's spent on a community centre or play areas will depend very much upon the meetings that will be held with various stakeholders, such as the residents, the ward councillors and the MP. And after gauging, because of the change in the use of land, because of the change in land, it is very important that we gain the views of the residents in that area so that we can chalk up a plan and that can be delivered. The money is there in the bank.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Question number 6, again from Dr Tom Rogers. Question number 6 is the second question from Dr Rogers. Would you like to ask your question in relation to Manor Drive Roman Fields development?
Yes, well, it's the same preamble as before. The second question was, on what date was this change of use formally approved by full council? Were Manor Drive Roman Fields residents consulted before this decision? Because you've just suggested there that there has been a decision made for a change of use, as originally stated on the Section 106 agreement.
Councillor Cam, 3 minutes.
I can find out the exact date for when the change of use was stipulated. Like I said, it was a very complex mesh of issues, so we will get that response to you in writing as to the exact date that the change in use took place.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Dr Rogers, you have a chance for a supplementary question, or is that suitable, your answer?
It says on the 2017 Section 106 agreement, if I've interpreted it correctly, that if the funds paid over by the developer are not spent within 10 years, then they are to be returned to the developer with all the interest accrued. So can you give a cast-iron guarantee that those funds will be spent on construction and construction will be started before they are due to be returned to the developer in 11th of August 2027?
Councillor Cam.
We can absolutely give a guarantee that we are going to be delivering on those projects depending upon the conversations with stakeholders.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Agenda item 7 then is petitions. I have no petitions have been presented to this meeting by members of the public or members of the council, so we'll move to item 8. Agenda item 8 is questions on notice. 8A is questions to the Mayor. B, questions to the Leader of Member of Cabinet or Member of Cabinet. Question 8C is to the Chair of any committee or subcommittee. Sorry, you're right. There have been 11 questions submitted by members to this meeting. All questions have been published on the Council's website and will be taken as read. The Council standing orders allow 30 minutes to consider these questions. Any questions that cannot be answered during this period will be dealt with a written answer. Question 1 then. Councillor Chris Wiggin, would you... No, I've got it, sorry. Councillor Steve Allen for question 1. Councillor Wiggin, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Steve Allen in relation to implementing the neighbourhood guarantee You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Councillor Allen for the question. Yes, the government's neighbourhood guarantee is intended to restore pride in local places by setting clearer expectations for visible public services, including cleaner streets, well-maintained public spaces, and faster action on issues such as potholes. Peterborough will consider the guarantee alongside existing service plans, budgets, and statutory responsibilities, and will work through the detailed guidance as it is issued by government. Residents can expect the council to use the guarantee as a framework to review how local environmental services are prioritised and delivered, with a focus on outcomes that matter most to communities: clean streets, safe and accessible public spaces, responsive maintenance, and clear accountability. However, delivery will need to be balanced against available resources, local need, and existing contractual arrangements. The council already undertakes work in these areas through highways maintenance, street cleansing, grounds maintenance, and neighbourhood enforcement. The guarantee provides an opportunity to strengthen that approach, identify where standards can be improved, and ensure residents and ward councillors have clearer routes to raise concerns and monitor progress. We will continue to engage with government, partners, and communities to understand the final requirements, and will bring forward implementation plans as the detail becomes available. We are particularly keen to engage with parish councils as part of this via our Parish Council Liaison Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wiggin. Councillor Allen, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask if you have.
Thank you very much for the answer, Councillor Wiggins. As part of the overall Local Services Guarantee initiative, community power pilots are to be launched in select areas. These pilots invite residents to work directly with councils to design services like youth provision and community spaces that suit local needs. Additionally, if core public services fall below expected standards, residents and local leaders are to be given new powers to force change and hold service providers accountable. My question is, are you able to confirm that Peterborough will be one of the pilot communities?
Councillor Wiggin, would you like to respond? You have 2 minutes to do so.
Not that I'm aware of as at present, but as I have said, we are awaiting the full guidance from government, and as we get that, we will work through it and see what opportunities we have to ensure Peterborough is at the lead of these new measures.
Thank you, Councillor Wiggin. Question 2 is from Councillor Fox. Councillor Shabina Khan, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor John Fox in relation to the number 62 bus? You have 3 minutes to do so.
It's a pleasure to respond to Councillor Fox, Mr. Mayor. So I can say to Councillor Fox that this was actually presented to the Transport Committee on the 17th of June, where Councillor Angus Ellis, Cabinet Member for Transport, was also present. And after a consultancy study had been done by Sistra Limited, Councillor Angus Ellis, in his capacity, actually expressed an objection to the proposed reimagined Peterborough orbital service that really isn't orbital because it leaves out and doesn't serve the north of Peterborough in the way that we would like it to. There were concerns also raised about the revised 62 service that would mean that there's only one route serving the whole of Warrington. And the number 1, as you very rightly say, goes either clockwise or anti-clockwise, but in the opposite direction, would severely impact residents, especially those residing in sheltered housing who would have problems using public transport for local services. So we know that Councillor Fox has been raising this with the CPCA and with Stagecoach about the number 1 service. Now, if the number 62 service is revised as proposed, which was a service going in the other direction, there needs to be a revised number 1 service going in the opposite direction to serve the residents, to compensate. Now, Cabinet Member Angus Ellis is happy to work with you on this. He has told me the starting position should be that we would advise that you ask all of your residents who will be impacted by this to engage in the consultation, which isn't found on the normal CPCA website. There is a separate link. We'd be more than happy to email you that.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Councillor Fox, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I don't have a supplementary other than to say thank you very much for the leaders' comments, and I look forward to working with the CPCA on this. And the residents have already
been made aware of the questionnaire via Warrington Notice Board.
Thank you, Councillor Fox. Councillor Cam, I assume you would not like to respond to that.
I agree with everything Councillor Fox says.
Thank you very much. Councillor 3. Question 3 from Councillor Steve Allen. Councillor Christian Hogg, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Steve Allen in relation to combating fly tipping? You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Steve, for your question. As always, you're a keen advocate of new regulations. On this occasion, I feel the gun hasn't quite gone off yet. More an announcement of intent on the 18th of May from DEFRA. The forthcoming waste crime action plan will bring in a new and tougher permit-based system and is expected in 2027. This will require waste handlers to undergo identity, criminal record and technical checks before receiving a permit. They will also need to display their permit number in advertising, included in their vans, making it easier for people to report unlicensed operators. PCC welcome these changes and stand ready to play our part on implementation, although it does look like enforcement will be down to the Environment Agency. This cross-party administration is very keen to fight the devastation that fly tipping has inflicted on our urban and rural areas. So we are pleased to see this government is providing better tools to help with that fight. In the meantime, we continue to remind residents of their household duty of care, including the need to check that waste carriers have licenses and obtain company and vehicle details. A new fly tipping awareness campaign is due to launch in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Councillor Hogg. Councillor Allen, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask it.
It'd be a shame to waste the supplementary, wouldn't it? Thank you very much for that comprehensive response, Councillor Hogg. And I do hope that the measures do get enforced and they're implemented, and residents will have this simple and clearly displayed option to check the bona fide of registered waste carriers. Can I ask what steps the Council will be putting in place to ensure users of the service are made aware of their environmental obligations to check the registration, and importantly, how PCC officers and other law enforcement bodies are being empowered to apply vigilance to the issue?
Councillor Hogg, would you like to respond? You have 2 minutes to answer.
Yes. So, I mean, as I previously said, there is an awareness campaign that's being launched in the coming weeks. Of course, all of our officers are aware of their responsibilities and what they can and cannot do in regard to this matter. And as I said, we look forward to seeing what that new legislation looks like. And, you know, if we need to play a part in that in terms of the enforcement, we shall absolutely be doing so.
Thank you, Councillor Hogg. Question 4 is from Councillor Sandra Bond. Councillor Nouman Ali Iqbal, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Sandra Bond in relation to Roman Fields Development S106? You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you very much, Sandra Bond, for your question. We have all heard this evening about the frustrations of local residents relating to inadequate community facilities at Roman Fields, a position this council acknowledges and recognises. Council has also been informed about the work being proactively delivered by officers to remedy these historical issues, and we all look forward to receiving more information, including an agreement implementation plan. All of the financial contributions required by the Section 106 agreement have been paid to the council in full by the developer and remain available. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bond, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask it.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. Thank you, Councillor Iqbal, for your response to my question. But my supplementary is quite clear, and I would really like a clear answer for this on behalf of the residents of Roman Field. How much longer will residents on the Roman Field development have to wait for benches, goalposts, play equipment, and a recreational ground to be installed? And are there still sufficient funds in the S106 pot to pay for them? Thank you.
The simple answer.
Sorry, Councillor Iqbal.
Sorry.
I know you want to get away. Councillor Iqbal, would you like to respond? You have 2 minutes to do so.
The football's on today.
You don't say. You don't say.
I think so. Is in England playing today? The simple answer is yes. By the end of July, we'll have more of an update of what's going on, and then I will email you accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 5 is from Councillor Ed Murphy. Councillor Angus Ellis, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Ed Murphy in relation to the Queensgate roundabout? You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Murphy, for your question. The Peterborough Station Quarter Scheme will be groundbreaking for Peterborough, providing a modern and dynamic entrance to our city, as well as better connecting the station area to the city core. The scheme is central to our growth and regeneration plans for the city centre, which will deliver more homes, more jobs, and much improved city centre experience. The Peterborough Station Quarter works are starting shortly, with the first phase on Queensgate roundabout, known as City Link. Future works will improve the existing station building and forecourt area, as well as a new western entrance, which will be a fantastic improvement for our city. This project has been developed over a number of years, and we undertook a large-scale public consultation in 2024, which highlighted the current pedestrian and cycle route into the city from the station as being deeply flawed. The reviews have already been undertaken, and we are now moving ahead with our plans. There will be some disruptions whilst the works take place, but we have worked with the contractors and other organisations such as the bus companies and Taxi Federation to make the situation work the best we can. We will actively monitor the impact of the traffic management and make adjustments to improve traffic flows if possible. Assessments of the carbon impact of using concrete were carried out as part of the design stage, and a carbon management plan produced. We are satisfied that appropriate actions have been taken in designing the City Link phase of the project to minimise the carbon impact of using concrete. We are also installing sustainable drainage areas and additional tree planting and green areas to improve diversity. I would also like to read out a response we've had from the Thorpley Residents Association in relation to the question that you asked, Councillor Murphy. They say, we support the improvements to the station quarter, the roundabouts, underpasses and surrounding areas. We are pleased to see that phase 1 is starting. We have waited a very long time. We believe this will ultimately be much more secure and a pleasurable experience walking into the city than the current awful underpasses. We appreciate there will be a lot of disruption during the work being done, but we need to get our city working again and ensure it's a city to be proud of. Please, can we request that the council monitor the traffic and pedestrian issues and make changes as needed? Maybe temporary traffic lights or open lanes if the closed lanes and other measures aren't working for any reason.
Councillor Ellis,
It may be necessary.
Councillor Ellis,
I'm going to.
can you sum up, please?
I will do. It may be necessary to have police at peak times to keep traffic flowing at such major points for the railway and shopping centre. There should also be a consideration for elderly people walking into the town via a longer route.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Murphy, do you have a supplementary question? If so, you have 1 minute to ask it.
Yes, I do. Can you hear me? Thank you very much for your answer. You haven't answered a few points, well, many points actually. Environmental impact assessment, where is it? The consultation you referred to in 2024, was that 30 or 300 people that were consulted out of thousands of people that will be affected in Peterborough? I agree with what the Residents Association is saying. Crossing 3 lanes of Thorpe Road is going to be very, very dangerous. You haven't answered in the question about alternative pedestrian and cycle routes because the proposed ones are really very dangerous and very cumbersome. So please can we answer those questions? On Monday, many members attended an all-party meeting, but we ran out of time. We had one question.
Councillor Murphy, You've asked your question. We're not going to talk about what happened at the other meeting. Are they your questions? It's a supplementary question. You've got 2 so far, supplementaries.
Do you want me to finish, Mr Mayor, or do
No.
you want to interrupt me?
Councillor Ellis, would you please answer the question?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think there is a question in there somewhere, and I do appreciate the correspondence you've been having with me regarding this. I know that you have some different views around the City Link. On the consultation itself, which is something you did ask about, we carried out a public consultation exercise, engagement exercise in 2024. The feedback was collated and analysed, and design proposals updated to reflect suggestions to help the final project. 390 survey responses, feedback from 4 one-to-one sessions which were held with Cycle Forum, Peterborough Civic Society, Campsite and Accessibility Forum, 3 feedback emails from individuals, 3 formal written responses received from groups, engagement from 47 local businesses in person in the city centre, feedback from 4 pop-up events from across Peterborough City Centre with 150 plus people engaged through conversations with the project team, feedback from 1 youth webinar which was delivered and attended by our youth MPs and youth council members, feedback from 1 accessibility workshop which took place with 27 people in attendance. Overall, the stakeholder engagement exercise confirmed that there is a widespread feeling that the current pedestrian and cycle route into the city from the station is deeply flawed, and hence why they propose changes now. I understand I am indulging you to a certain extent, Councillor Murphy. We are setting up a meeting, as you know. We've actually got suggested dates. So if there are further questions, because you have been in correspondence a lot with lots of different questions, some of them are more like statements and questions, but as I say, we'll have to agree to disagree on some points, but we can certainly take forward concerns about things like displacement of traffic across other streets around Peterborough. And I can reassure all other members, this is not, we're not just going to be consulted and talking to Councillor Murphy. The next all-member briefing is just going to be about the station quarter, and I will ensure that there are regular updates around the work.
Can you sum up?
And if needed, more. So that really sums up as much as I can in the time allowed.
Thank you. Over the time allowed, actually, but yeah, fair enough. Thank you as well for being offering to allow Councillor Murphy to approach you with the other questions. Appreciate that. Thank you. Councillor 6 then. So, I've done it again. I don't know who he is, but he's a good guy. Question 6 from Councillor John Howard. Councillor Nouman Ali. Iqbal, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor John Howard in relation to Cathedral Square and the Guildhall? You have 3 minutes to do
Thank you very much. I'll wait for you to finish this time. Thank you very much, John Howard, for your question. As members are aware, the council has been awarded £1.5 million Pride in Place impact funding, and officers have been developing plans in consultation with others, including the Business Improvement District and the Peterborough Tourist Board, to invest this funding in the heart of the city centre. Proposals are to be presented to our MP at the beginning of July. As a condition of the grant is that he is consulted and endorses the plans before it is published. I hope we will then be in a position to share details publicly. Works are required to be completed by March 2027. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Iqbal. Councillor Howard, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask.
Thank you. For you, Mr Mayor, I do, if that's okay. Yeah, Councillor Iqbal, welcome to your new cabinet role as well. Good to have you on board answering. Thank you for that. I am disappointed that we missed the deadlines of the motion that we unanimously passed last year, but I'm heartened by the fact there is progress going on. My question is this all being done secret school? Because the MP's seeing it in July, and then we're going to have it all done by March the next year. Now, the coalition administration has councillors in it, but there's an awful lot of councillors on this side of the bench who aren't in it, who would equally love to hear and see the plans that are coming forward. So all I'd respectfully ask for you is, can you please keep everyone in this chamber in the loop on what the plans are, please?
Thank you very much, John Howard.
Councillor Iqbal. Councillor Iqbal. Rein him in, please, Councillor Cam. Yes. Would you like to, it wasn't much of a question, but it was an assurance, so please, if you'd like to respond.
Yes, I will keep everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's so keen. Question 7 is from Councillor Ed Murphy. Councillor Nouman Ali Iqbal, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Ed Murphy in relation to the station quarter costs? You have 3 minutes to do so. You're on.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ed Murphy, for your question. The Station Quarter Peterborough Council and Combined Authority may have agreed to fund any shortfall in overall costs. Is it on schedule, and what is the current budget? Sorry. All costs that have been contracted for relation to the Peterborough Station Quarter scheme so far have been fully covered by government funding. The project is on target to be completed before the end of March 2029. At the moment, it has not been necessary for the council to contribute to the capital costs of the project. Phase 2 and 3 will be priced over the summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Iqbal. Councillor Murphy, do you have a supplementary question? If you have 1 minute to ask it.
Yes, thank you for your answer. I understand there's forward funding. Is that forward funding going to the Combined Authority or Peterborough City Council? Where's it held? Somebody earlier on mentioned that the overall cost, I think they said, was 45 million that the council was getting from government funds, but it was 48. Thank you for your correction, but it's 68 million pounds budgeted. The council have agreed to meet that shortfall. Where are we going to be able to get that money from, considering we haven't got reserves of anything like that? And do you think there's going to be considerable disruption down Oundle Road, and maybe we should review this project here and now urgently?
Again, sorry, I have to come in. It's supposed to be a supplementary question related to the question you first asked. The disruption is not the first question, but because you got it in time, I'm happy for him to answer. Right, but please, supplementaries are on your first question, not something else. Okay? Thank you. Councillor Iqbal.
Thank you very much for your question, Councillor Ed Murphy. I will get an email response written to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question 8 is from Councillor Heather Skipstead. Councillor Cairn, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Heather Skipstead in relation to the costs of additional cabinet positions? You have 3 minutes in which to do so.
Certainly, I will. I'm a little bit surprised about this question because a lot of the conversations that I had prior to having or putting together the administration with my coalition certainly was around the people and councillors having values when we put together an administration. I'm quite surprised, actually, Councillor Skipstead, that you have put forward a question on the basis of SRAs, which actually appears that that's all people care about nowadays. But hey-ho, everybody's different. Now, since last year, there was a conscious decision to ensure that cabinet portfolios are structured in a way that we are delivering discernibly on some of those corporate priorities that we have to undertake in the way of service to our residents, some of those statutory responsibilities, especially in the way of some of those KPIs that we're actually not meeting. It's a significant commitment. It is a full-time job, and it involves regular decision-making, engagement with residents and partners, close working with senior officers, and responsibility for delivering major services and savings programs. Some of them have fitted, some of them have we have had to change around. So bringing poverty into, in collaboration with public health, making sure that public health sits at every single facet of every directorate, because the health and well-being of a prosperous city is important in terms of economic prosperity. Now, the structure in place is intended to ensure that these responsibilities are carried out effectively and that priorities such as financial sustainability and service improvement and delivery of the council's objectives are properly managed. Now, in terms of the cost, the overall increase in allowances reflects the change in the number and structure of cabinet roles. However, this should be seen in the context of the council's overall budget and the need to ensure that leadership capacity is sufficient to manage our services effectively and deliver value for money at the same time. But your issue regarding elections relates to a completely separate set of statutory costs and considerations, and decisions about governance arrangement and cabinet structures are about ensuring the council is organised in the most effective way to deliver for residents, and it is right that these are considered on that basis. So there is no comparison with delay of the elections, because that was a completely different pot. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Councillor Skipstead, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do. I would say that asking about SRAs is relevant, as this is taxpayers' money, and bearing in mind the financial constraints we have as a council and the public perception, do you consider this constitutes good governance? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Skipstead. I think that this very much constitutes good governance, because we are delivering and exceeding the expectations on service delivery to some of the most frail and vulnerable residents within our city. We were underspent in adult social services. Children's services continue to be demanding, so we need proper oversight, proper leadership to make sure that that vulnerable cohort of residents is being looked after. So we have taken a conscientious decision in allocating those portfolio roles, and it's also about handing over in the midst of LGR to ensure that when we transition into a new council, we are taking no liabilities with us as well. We have a huge responsibility to do so for the residents of this city, so that they wake up on the morning of 2028 in the new authority and know that they will be looked after and that nobody is without a service. We need responsibility at the helm to make sure that we deliver on those pledges sufficiently.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Question 9 is from Councillor Paul Wiggin. Councillor Mohammed Jamil, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Paul Wiggin in relation to election IT issues? You have 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much, Councillor Paul Wiggin, for your question. The incident that you referred to on the day of the election was something that was reported to electoral services at one of the polling stations in Hampton, as you're aware. Now, during polling, one of the iPads struggled to connect to the voting system, which caused it to slow down considerably. This was at the polling station located, I believe, at Hampton Vale Primary School. Once alerted to this issue, electoral services sent replacement iPads to see if it was a hardware issue. When this did not work, they tried to connect to the school's Wi-Fi. Despite the signal being strong, the iPad was still running slow. They then attempted to connect the iPad to a mobile phone on a different network, but once again, this failed to solve the problem. It was decided to revert to a paper copy of the electoral register to ensure that all electors could vote in a timely manner. The council have been using iPads in polling stations, including Hampton Vale Primary School, since 2024, with no similar issues being reported previously in the area. Electoral services are having ongoing discussions with iPad suppliers, a company called Modern Democracy, to see if anything further can be done to ensure secure signal throughout the day. They will also carry out further network testing prior to future polls within the Hampton area, but as always, there are printable copies as backup, which were available on the day as well, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jamil. Councillor Wiggin, do you have a supplementary question? You have 1 minute to ask it.
I do. Sorry, I do. It was most disappointing to see people turned away because they couldn't vote, or having to wait for a significant amount of time to enable them to vote. In terms of mitigation, one of the key problems that exacerbates the problem at Hampton Vale Primary Academy is the distance some people have to travel from Great Haddon into Hampton to be able to vote. Can you therefore explore the option of an additional polling station in Hampton Vale Ward, looking at Great Haddon and particularly the new primary school, which we believe will be ready for September and therefore can be used in May 27?
Councillor Jamil, would you like to answer the question?
Thank you very much, Mr. I certainly can answer it. Certainly we would do. I know my officers at Electoral Services are already looking at it, and we believe Hampton Primary School will be online from September. So if we can use that to make it easier for people to go out and vote, then we will certainly be doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jamil. Members, we've run out of time on that particular agenda item, so the remaining questions will be answered with a written reply. So we'll move to item 8D, which is questions to the Combined Authority representatives. There's been one question submitted by a member to the meeting. The council standing orders allow 15 minutes to consider the question. Any questions that cannot be answered during this period will be dealt with by a written answer. Question has come in from Councillor Ed Murphy. Councillor Sabina Kayam, would you like to respond to the question from Councillor Ed Murphy in relation to station quarter costs? You have 3 minutes to do so.
With pleasure, Mr Mayor, and thank you. Thank you very much for your question, Councillor Murphy. Now, as previously stated, all costs have been contracted in relation to Peterborough Station Quarter so far and have been fully covered by government funding. And the responsibility for any cost overrun with the overall scheme actually rests with the City Council, as you were told in the All Members briefing the other day too, and not the Combined Authority, as agreed by full council last year in July 2025, and in accordance with the grant funding conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. Councillor Murphy, do you have a supplementary question? If you do, you have 1 minute to ask it.
Thank you for the clarification that it's the City Council that I'll pick up that shortfall. That's most helpful to clarify that. You may be aware that Baroness Brown's commission consulted widely and reported back to the Combined Authority on the climate emergency. What is the environmental impact assessment of the proposed station quarter scheme, and what would have been the cost of reviewing this before the work planned for this July? Was it more than £100,000, and if so, how much was it?
Thank you very much, Councillor Murphy.
Councillor Kayam. Let's get in the habit. Anyway, yes, Councillor Kayam, would you like to respond? You have 2 minutes to do so.
Please forgive me for breaching the protocol. I believe that Councillor Angus Ellis has in part responded to your question around the carbon impact assessment, but you quite rightly ask about the environmental impact assessment. What I can say to you is I will confirm with you in writing the cost, but I do know that a number of environmental impacts, through the environmental impact assessment that has taken place, a number of areas have been addressed, such as planting of trees for the vegetation that will be removed, and the landscaping has taken that environmental impact assessment into consideration. What I will do in order to satisfy the response to your question, Councillor Murphy, is to ask for officers to email you the environmental impact assessment, and I think that that's something that is quite doable.
Thank you, Councillor Kayam. Agenda item 9 is executive and committee recommendations to council. There are no recommendations from either the executive or committees to consider this afternoon. Pardon me. Agenda item 10, questions on the executive decisions made since the last meeting. Item 10 is in relation to the record of executive decisions detailed on pages 31 to 21 of your agenda pack. The leader will introduce this item, and any questions will be answered by the leader unless she refers them to another member. I remind councillors that they should ask questions on decisions in the reports. All questions should be relevant to the decision itself. Should I feel that any preamble is unreasonably long, I will instruct councillors to ask their question immediately. Can members please note that once I have moved on, questions will not be accepted from previous pages. Councillor Sabina Kayam, would you please introduce the item?
With pleasure, Mr Mayor, and thank you. And all I will say is I invite members to ask their questions and take it away.
I will take, therefore, each page in turn. Could members please refer to the title or reference number of the decision when asking your question? Page 13. Page 14. Sorry, what's go on, what will be page 13? Sorry, I've got Councillor Murphy as well. What's your one?
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Is it 13?
Yeah, I had
13.
items rather than the thing. So the first one is item 1. One of our members couldn't be here, about the delegation. I know spot purchasing was causing some real problems and there were legal questions about it and homelessness. But the main thrust of my question is, wouldn't it be better, rather than allowing delegated authority of up to £5 million, for the council to have its own direct provision to tackle emergency homelessness and plan to tackle homelessness prevention as well, rather than spot purchasing very, very expensive private accommodation and maybe going back to hotels many, many places away? So can we urgently look at using this £5 million to do some of that? We used to have hostels for the homeless run by the council. If the council can't do it, then one of our partners, perhaps, like a housing association.
Councillor Cam.
Thank you very much, Councillor Murphy. Although you raise a very valid point, I am very much aware that our directors are looking at alternative provision to help with the rising numbers of people who are sleeping rough on the streets. And in addition to that, there are modifications in how we are addressing those rough sleepers through our partnerships and stakeholder relationships with Safer Off the Streets. We can give you more details as soon as those talks resume and culminate. Thank you.
Thank you. Still page 13. 14. Oh, yeah, Councillor Murphy, 14.
So we're looking at the decision D. Nicola was going to ask that one. I, J and K, the community asset transfers. Does that ring a bell? There's several items. Some of them have been... Is that on the next page? Okay. I'll wait.
Okay, so any more on 14? Right, so then we'll move to 15, which of course is Councillor Skibsted, and then Councillor Murphy. I think you've got one on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was number F3 about Ken Stimpson Academy. So as we know, this has been a lengthy issue running over 7 years. The community have lost out on a space that they've shared for 40 years and hoped that some kind of compromise could be reached and how the fields could be shared during the school holidays, which is done in other areas of the country. On March 24th, it was stated at a cabinet meeting that the community use agreement would not be finalised without consultation with residents represented by Save Warrington Fields Group. This agreement was subsequently signed on May 29th without consultation with this group. How can this be explained, please? Thank you.
Councillor Cairn.
That is a good response. That is a good question, Councillor Skibsted. Actually, the Save Warrington Fields do not represent the whole of the residents of Peterborough, of Warrington, let's be honest. Since then, the Warrington councillors themselves and the Warrington Council, if that is how I'm naming them correctly, have met with the legal officer to negotiate and to talk about questions that they have raised in terms of their concerns since the cabinet decision took place around remediation of the height of the fence, also around access by community groups and organisations and have in terms of accessing the field, regarding the multi-use play area, and the school has come back quite positively. Those negotiations are still ongoing, and I will hand it over to the Cabinet Member for Children's Services if she wishes to add anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader, and thank you, Mayor. I have always been really clear that the neighbourhood council and the local ward councillors need to have input into that community use agreement. I stand firm by what I said, but because of other factors that have come into play, I wasn't able to attend that meeting, but I stand firm that the community use agreement needs to be there to enable residents to access that space as the leader has outlined. Thank you.
Can you come back? Is it a different question? Okay, Karen.
I just wanted to say that you mentioned that Save Warrington Fields are not the whole community, but they are an interested party in terms of the legality of it. The other thing I would just say is that this has been done in other areas, Bristol being one of them, where it has been quite possible to share the school fields during the summer holidays. I would like the administration to consider taking that into account and maybe looking at that as a possibility, as this would be very helpful for community relations in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron, you have a right to respond on that if you wish.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We completely value community relationships, not least with the Save Warrington Fields Group, but also would like to applaud the 3 councillors from Warrington who have represented their community in an exemplary manner and have come to the table and have negotiated or spoken to our legal officers who have then spoken to the school regarding this very contentious issue. What I will say is that we inherited a problem. We were not the administration that handed over those fields for educational land use in the first place. Let me set that line here. So We have tried to negotiate as far as we possibly can. And apart from that, the response from the school has been quite forthcoming. We are reaching the stage where mediation talks are taking a positive angle. And on that note, I will also hand over to Councillor Cole to add anything should she so wish to.
Thank you, Leader, and thank you, Mayor, through you. I've had numerous conversations with Councillor Hillier about other schemes across the country that have involved community use agreements and how they have been designed so that the community is able to access those fields. I've also shared that information with the monitoring officer, and it's something that, as you said, Councillor Gibbs said, it needs looking into, and I fully support that.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Murphy, you have one on this one?
Yes, on councillor, on pages 16 and 17.
Can you just hold for a minute, because I've still got one on this particular topic then? Is that okay? Yeah, I've got Councillor Hillier first, and then I'll come to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to pick up a little bit on the question asked by Councillor Skipstead that I don't think we quite got an answer to. I would like to say thank you to Councillor Cole and Councillor Leader Khayyam for their support in helping us to be involved in negotiations for the community use agreement, which are still ongoing. However, I do think it's a really important point that Councillor Skipstead made, that although Save Warrington Fields may not represent all of the residents of Warrington, they do represent a very interested, passionate group of residents that have put a lot of their personal time and, in some cases, money into contesting this issue and trying to protect the community asset represented by the Warrington Field. I think it's a real shame that they've not been invited to participate in the negotiations for the community use agreement that are ongoing, and would appreciate any input that they could be allowed to have. I think that's particularly necessary because they are considered to be an interested legal party to proceedings, so they are being asked to sign off on the judicial review settlement that's been put before Council, without really having a voice or a say in the ongoing negotiations for the community use agreement, and that just doesn't seem right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cowan, do you wish to respond?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Councillor Hillier, for your question. I completely agree. It would be wonderful if they were to sit at those tables. As you know, yourselves, alongside the Warrington Council representatives, have indeed been speaking to our legal officers, and nothing stops them from engaging and coming forward and being part of those talks too. The doors are open on that front. Prior to that, however, our legal officers have confirmed that they have attempted to engage with their legal representatives on a number of occasions, and that there has been evidence of correspondence. And I'm sure that Councillor Cole will be able to substantiate that during the course of the judicial review negotiations that were taking place.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Howard, was your question in relation to this particular item, the Warrington Field? Yes, okay, so I'll come to you first, please.
Thanks for you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep it as brief as I can. I think the only the disappointment with all this is the way it's landing, because I just ask why the community use agreement couldn't have been made at the same time before the fencing is put up, so that the residents had the full picture going forwards, because I don't know if it's not physically possible to do so, but I think it would have been an awful lot better and more reassuring for residents if it was all done as one, rather than the way it's being done at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Howard, for your question. I completely agree with you, actually. It should have been done when previous administrations had handed over that land for educational use, and that would have saved us all the headache that we're seeing right now. So, you know, things could have been done in a much more straightforward manner. Consultations took place. The results of those are yet to be unknown.
Sorry, Councillor Cam, can you just stop for a minute, please?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Councillor Fitzgerald, what's your point?
A point of accuracy, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Twice the leader now has said something about previous administrations. I would remind this council, it is the school that applies the academisation to the DFE. It is not this council that makes the decision. But as part of another academisation offering, the school has to have the land transferred to it. The council have no say. So that was the arrangement. The school wanted academisation, the DFE approved it, the council had to hand it over. So don't be blaming administrations, just go with the law.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Fitzgerald, for that clarification.
Mr Mayor, can I conclude?
You can.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Fitzgerald, for the accuracy. However, it still is remiss of us not to acknowledge the fact that when the land was handed over, the community use agreement could have been at that time resolved with all parties coming to the table. We have inherited an issue. It has created a great deal of upset across the board, and some difficult decisions have had to be made.
Again, Mr Mayor, a point of accuracy, if I may.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not here to answer the question, but I think you find that former Councillor Farouk was in charge at that point, and the Conservatives weren't in power during those negotiations. It was ongoing, but it still wasn't resolved successively post the Conservative regime.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm just going to give a counterpoint of accuracy, if I may say.
Yeah.
So that was in 2019, and Councillor Linares, who was the Cabinet Member for Education, made that decision.
Okay, can we, with respect, can we move from the tit for tat and move on with business? No, I get it.
We're scoring goals, Mr Mayor.
Yes, I know. Own goals, by the looks of it.
Yeah, can we have a rehydration break?
Can we have a boo? Right. Okay, back to Councillor Murphy. I have you next.
Thank you,
This
Mr.
was
Mayor.
in relation to page.
So it's those 2 pages, and it's I, J, and K. But I think rather than go through Cecil Drive, Matley separately, if I wrap up the questions really, because they're all connected, this could be practical and good news. It looks as though everyone is being done based upon its own case and merits. However, I do note it's over 25 years since the play centres were shut, and the council had 56 community centres and village halls. And then we had 10 years of community transfer asset work. Consultants were employed to do all these plans with various community centres. The support to the volunteers was withdrawn. The repairs were withdrawn in many, many cases. And only now are we getting transfer taking place. That is an awful long time, 2.5 decades or longer. And some of them are being transferred with maybe a licence or a lease, but it doesn't say. Some of them are getting a subsidised rent. Some of them are paying a full market rent. The question is this a bit of a mess, and can it be sorted out?
Councillor Cam.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. And I'm really glad, actually, that you've brought up this question after our asset review that has taken place. And this has come about as a result of that, having a look at our governance strategies. The thing is that the options were given to Cabinet, and one of those options is to do nothing with these buildings, which would mean that those properties remain vacant, continue to incur holding costs, estimated in thousands per annum, and it provides no community benefit as well, and exposes the council to ongoing financial and asset deterioration risk. Rather than having that, it is in the best interest of the community to make sure that we give out short and long-term leases, because there have been varying leases across the board with reference to these community centres, and make sure that the tenant that assumes them has full responsibility for repairs, utilities, business rates, compliance, wastes and inspections as well, and that the council still retains those inspection rights and the right to use the premises as a polling station, in which case, whatever community asset has been used as such. But in short, I'd attempt to answer your question in this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cam. What's your question relating to, Councillor?
It's just to come back on the same one.
Yep.
It is very brief, Mr. Mayor. I think this is good that you're trying to be practical, but I am aware that these are all subject to possible legal action. We've already had a significant judicial review on an asset transfer. There's big risks. Can you please manage them as best you can?
I'm hoping that's a fairly short answer.
The answer is yes.
Thank you, Councillor Cow. Good. That's good to hear. Thank you. So we were on page 16 at the bottom and moved on to 17. So before I move to 17, 16, clear? 17 then. No, I'm not hanging on. You need to be ready.
Sorry, my screen's
Are
gone
we on
down.
17?
Bretton Court.
Where's that? Oh, anybody want to help me with the page?
It's the
That's
last
all?
one, page 18, I believe.
Well, we're not to 18 yet. We're on 17. Are you able to tell me? Can you tell me where that is? No good just saying what it is. Where is it?
Yeah, it's near where Sainsbury's used to be. No, it's the last item on the Cabinet Member decision notices.
We're nowhere near
Okay.
that yet. Come on, guys. You need to put some effort into getting your orders. 21, we're on 17, so you're nowhere near it. So, okay, 17 we were at. Are we clear? 18? 19? 20? 21. Ed, this is you. Bottom of page 21.
Thank you so much. This is about Bretton Court. I think it was a decade ago I asked this council what they would have got in net income if they'd attended the planning committee to give planning permission to use it. And I think it was £5.7 million. Savings in homelessness, and they could have got rent in from those properties. How much do you think it's costing now, and when are we going to get Bretton Court sorted out? Because it's been blighting that part of Peterborough for about 25 years.
Councillor Cam.
Thank you. Relevant question, but I'm not sure that Councillor Murphy is aware that yesterday at Shareholder Cabinet Committee we'd made the decision already to move those legal blockers and to initiate the sale of Bretton Court to a developer who will hopefully be starting works sooner rather than later, more this side of the year than next year. So, as you know, it's been a complex mesh of contractual arrangements involving Cross Keys Home and Medsham Homes, which has been a joint venture between Peterborough City Council, established in 2016. So yesterday the decision was made to Shareholder Cabinet to remove those legal blockers and make sure that we have a solution once and for all for Bretton Court. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councillor Murphy.
So it's about £11.4 million of income this council could have had if it had got this property sorted out 10 years ago.
Councillor Cam.
Well, I'd like you to evidence those figures with me, like you ask us for evidence. Do write to me. You're more than free to write to me with those figures and the evidence of substantiating those costs that you've just given, and we will respond in kind. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they are the figures that me and Councillor Jamil discussed.
Woo. Let's have respect for the Mayor. I'm not, you know, at the end of the day, you don't just do it across them, you come through the Mayor. So have you got another question?
Thank you for that response. When I asked the question, Councillor Jamil did deal with some of those figures. I'll look back at any records I have and look at the council minutes as well, and possibly the recording from that meeting.
Councillor Cam, do you want to come back?
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. Agenda item 11 then is questions on combined authority decisions made since last meeting. Item 11 is in relation to the record of combined authority decisions, detailed on pages 23 to 43 of your agenda pack. I'll refer any questions to the relevant combined authority representative. Otherwise, the same rules will apply as the previous item. I will take each meeting in turn, and members please refer to the title of the decision when asking a question. The combined authority representatives are over in scrutiny, Councillor Zamir Ali and Peter Reeve. Transport Committee is Councillor Angus Ellis. Audit and Governance Committee is Councillor Imtiaz Ali. Skills Committee is Councillor Katie Cole. Growth Committee is Councillor Nouman Ali Iqbal. And Combined Authority Board is Councillor Shabina Kayam. Right. Do we have anything on those? Or should we move on? Okay. Okay, members, I'm exercising my discretion to vary the order of the remaining agenda. We will now hear the reports to Council at items 13 and 14 before returning to item 12 to consider motions on notice. Agenda item 13 is the revised political balance and allocation of committee seats. The report for this item can be found at pages 51 to 59 of your agenda pack. Councillor Mohammed Jamil, would you like to move the recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll try and be as quick as possible. Members, following the resignation of Daisy Blakemore-Credian, the Democratic Services team has recalculated the political balance of the council. This balance determines how committee seats are allocated to each political group on the council in proportion to the number of seats it holds on the council, and in accordance with the Local Government and Housing Act 1989 and subsequent regulations. In summary, the recalculation shows that 2 committee seats need to be reallocated from the non-grouped independent members to one of the Peterborough First Group, and another seat goes to the Liberal Democrat Group. The Peterborough First Group have allocated a member onto the Children and Young People Scrutiny Committee, and the Liberal Democrats have allocated a member on the Licensing Committee. Council is asked to note the number of committee seats to be allocated to and agree the allocation of seats that are subject to political balance arrangements. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jamil. Councillor Shabina Kayam, will you second the motion and either speak now or reserve your right to speak later?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second the motion and reserve my right to speak in totality.
Thank you, Councillor Kayam. Does any member wish to begin any debate? I've got one here. Councillor Murphy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a very brief question. We're going to have to do this again, aren't we, next month? But does this have an influence on joint proportionality across the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough area? For example, the fire authority or any other authorities, because they're down. And when will we hear about that, Councillor Jamil?
Councillor Jamil?
It does, and it will, like you say, it will change again. So whenever it changes, they have to calculate all the allocations. So short answer is yes, it will do, and then we'll probably be back here on the 29th of July, probably reading the same thing out again, but with different allocations.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other questions or debate? Are we all agreed at that point? So we don't have to go back to, I think I still have to ask the question. Councillor Shabina Kayam, you are seconding the motion, so either speak now or reserve your right to speak.
I'm glad to second it and reserve my right to speak. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Right, okay. And Councillor Jamil, would you like to sum up?
No, I'd like to move on to the next item.
Okay. The recommendation proposed are set out under the recommendations head on page 51 of the report. Are these agreed, or shall we move to the vote? So we've agreed, yes? Thank you very much. Jolly good. Agenda item 14, appointment to committees. This report for the item can be found at pages 61 to 64 of your agenda pack. Councillor Mohammed Jamil, would you like to move the recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, this report presents proposed allocations to vacant committee seats for the remainder of this municipal year. 2 of these proposed allocations are a result of a change in political balance detailed in the previous item, and the others are a result of non-grouped independent members approaching the monitoring officer to take up the vacant committee seats. Members, in addition to proposing allocations to vacant committee seats, this report also seeks to delegate authority to the monitoring officer to make arrangements to fill vacant committee seats allocated to non-grouped independent members in consultation with the wishes of the non-grouped independent members. This would replicate the authority already delegated to the monitoring officer to fulfill the wishes of the political groups to amend or fill vacant committee seats. Council is asked to approve the appointments to committees and the proposed delegation to the monitoring officer as set out in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jamil. Councillor Shabina Kayam, you are down to second the motion. Will you either speak now or reserve your right to speak later in debate?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second the motion and I reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. Does any member wish to begin any debate on this item? Okay, we all agreed? Yeah, okay, well, we'll just read this bit out. Councillor Kayam, would you like to exercise your right to speak as a seconder?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I will reserve my right to speak in totality.
Thank you. Councillor Jamil, would you like to sum up?
No, thank you very much. I'm happy to move on to motions.
The recommendations proposed are set out under the recommendations header on page 61 of the report. I take it we are all agreed and we can move on. All agreed? Thank you. Agenda item 12 is motions on notice. And before we begin, I'm just going to pass you over to the Legal Officer, Gavin Milthorpe, to address you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm conscious of the fact that this meeting was moved to 3 p.m. so that some people who really wanted to, members, staff, and members of the public, could go and watch this game. I'm conscious that we are now only 25 minutes away from the start of the game, and we've not even started the motions. So I just wanted to check with the chamber as to what you want to do, and it seems to me there are 3 options to kind of get us towards the end here. We can keep going. We've got a 4-hour guillotine, so we could go all the way up to 7 o'clock if we wished, and go through these motions and see them through to the end. Option 2 is we go to vote only, or option 3 is that each of those proposers of motions could withdraw their motion. That would bring the meeting to an end, and then of course they'd be allowed to then resubmit their motion to the next meeting when it might be available for proper debate. What I am concerned about, and I'm sure you are as well, is that as we get closer to 5 o'clock, those people who are interested might not be paying too much attention, or we may have a rush debate. But again, it is completely up to the chamber. It makes no odds to me. I'm happy to sit here until 7. So I'd just be interested to get the views of the chamber through the mayor, please, if possible.
Okay, if you'd like to obviously put your hands up if you've got a view. Yeah, Councillor Jimmy.
I was going to suggest, can we just move to vote then?
No, please don't shout out. We'll have a thing in a minute. Yeah, who's next? Councillor Ormston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to second that suggestion, and we just go straight to votes.
Okay, so it's another view as well. Yes, Councillor Fitzgerald.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, just for clarity, I think what we're saying is the movers of the motion should read their motions, but then we move to the vote. Otherwise, people won't know what we're voting on, as in members of the public. So,
Gavin, if you'd like to explain.
Yeah, so I think we've had an indication from Councillor Ormston that he's happy to go to vote only. Could I hear from the other 2 proposers of motions, please, as to whether they would be prepared to go to vote only? Just for interest's sake, that's not to say it's your decision, but I'd just be interested to hear the view from the other 2 proposers, please.
Councillor Iqbal.
Iqbal, yeah, thank you. May I suggest that people get the opportunity just to present their motion and they just go straight to the vote?
Yeah, I do agree. That's what Councillor Fitzgerald just said as well. Councillor Reeve, you had something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whilst it's great to see such pride in our country and our football team, we are here for a purpose, and I'm absolutely stunned to be sat in this room, firstly at 3 o'clock, so members of the public have missed out on hearing and speaking at this meeting, as well as councillors. And secondly, to hear that these motions that I wanted to have a really good debate on are being deferred or not heard or not debated properly. I'm absolutely stunned. We are here for a purpose, Mr. Mayor, and that purpose is to represent the people of Peterborough, not to be sat at home watching football. So I would propose that we carry on with the meeting, and if we need to use all 4 hours, we use them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor, I've got Murphy. I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I think if anybody was going to watch the start of the game, they probably would have left by now to get there. The motion I've put forward about traffic is the second time I've tried to talk about the issues, particularly down Oundle Road. It was the annual meeting, Mayor, and I know there was other business, but we could have had it then. And only yesterday, the sibling of the person who was killed on Oundle Road posted that it haunts them every day to see things about this on a Facebook site. So I would like to at least be able to put forward the case why we need some urgent action in Peterborough to tackle deaths of pedestrians and deaths on our roads in Peterborough. And there may be other members who've had problems in their ward as well that may want to say something simply and without too much length.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Councillor Ty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I would like to see the football, but I would also like to have a robust debate about all of the motions put forward. For me, the solution is deferring them. None of them appear to be infinitely time dependent. So I would like them deferred to a time when we can debate them fully and we can all hear people's views.
Thank you, Councillor Ty. Councillor Allen, I think you're next, and then I've got you.
I would second that proposal. Councillor Ty's idea is perfect. Defer so they can be fully debated at the next council meeting, which is not too far down the line.
Thank you. Councillor Cahill.
Thank you. In my executive position, I think that it's really important to allow members to have their say in terms of what they would like to happen this evening. So I'm not going to give a view either way, but just to remind members of the fact that there are potentially two motions over here, one being tabled by Councillor Murphy and the motion being tabled by Councillor Iqbal that have through a bit more coming with a level of urgency. So I'd just like to remind members of that urgency in my own capacity, but happy to go with the majority.
Thank you. Councillor Antunes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the point's been made here that we are here to debate these in detail. That's the purpose of the councillor's role, and for the public to participate. There is certainly in my ward or in Hampton a key issue that does need a lot of debate, I believe. But I would favour option 3, that we reconvene and take this properly. So thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody else put their hand up?
Is it worth just saying, though, we're having
Yeah, that's true. Should we just go to some sort of vote?
So I'm just, sorry, through the mayor, I'm just concerned that we're having a debate about whether we have a debate, which is a little bit silly. So I know everyone's got different views on this. So what I'm going to suggest is we go through the motions one by one. And I think Councillor Murphy's is the first one. If Councillor Murphy is happy to withdraw and bring it back, fine. If he's not, then we proceed. Someone may suggest we go to vote only, in which case we'll take a vote on that. And then we'll proceed. We have to go through the motions because we couldn't come to one overall agreement. So if that's okay, we will go through that and we will start at the beginning. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So
that's fine.
Do you want to start your next?
Okay. Right, so agenda item 12, we have motions on notice. We've received 3 motions on notice from members, detailed in pages 45 to 49 of your agenda pack. The first motion relates to traffic issues in Peterborough. Councillor Ed Murphy, would you like to move your motion as set out in the agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move my motion, seek a seconder, briefly outline it, and without much of a debate, go to the vote. So if you want me to outline it now, I can.
I'm going to use my...
You need a seconder.
And I'm going to ask if you've got a seconder. Hand up. Can you? Okay. Councillor Ellis?
I'm happy to second the motion.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Are you happy with that? Oh, right, we've got Councillor Bellbanks already listed as being seconder, so thank you. But we've got Councillor Bellbanks. Okay, please, if you would like to introduce your item then. And now you can turn it back on again because you need to do your motion.
So to propose the motion, briefly, Mr. Mayor, a lot of this has stemmed from Oundle Road, but there are issues pertinent to other parts of Peterborough. Now, work has been ongoing. There's been more enforcement. I think it's quite clear that dangerous parking and disregard of the rules and regulations is one of the key aspects. It's not all about speeding. And as things have developed, there's a working in action around surrounding areas at the moment to stop the rat running through. We're a bit worried that a report on the 5th of June, said there was going to be traffic displaced from the Queensgate roundabout onto Oundle Road, but we'll have to handle that as it comes because we're not doing anything about it. So the motion goes into some practical steps we can do. That's the increased enforcement, which I believe is happening now. The cameras, it's becoming clearer and clearer that cameras can control through traffic. They can deal with people who aren't insured, who aren't really supposed to be driving, unlicensed vehicles, including taxis. We've seen parking on the pavements. Regulations need to be looked at where businesses are exasperating the problem by parking their vehicles or looking at trading standards. All those things need to come together. But the motion has addressed some of the wicked issues. Do what we're doing now, more enforcement. The Police and Crime Commissioner needs to respond and agree that the police officers are allowed to issue tickets. That's quite clear now, and perhaps they should be doing it. That will help. And thank you to the residents. I share their frustration over the years and years and years, but let's get somewhere on enforcing the regulations, and then there's longer term things we can do to try and calm the traffic, get the cameras in, and let's have the police service having a force priority for the police service to tackle pedestrian casualties in this area. It does apply beyond Oundle Road, I know, and there's been instances in Fletton Avenue, in Paston and Orton. So I would urge the council to support this motion as the first step to trying to preventing casualties in this part and other parts of Peterborough. Thank you.
Thank you. We seem to be a bit quick out off the mark here tonight. Anyway, I'll pass you back to Gavin now from what you said.
Well, thank you. I mean, the simplest way to do this now is to move to vote, as long as no one wants to debate this point. Otherwise, we have to do a procedural motion. So if no one's indicating, I think we will move to vote only, to the vote section, please then, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so the motion is agreed. Yes? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, is that you're agreeing? Right, okay, fair enough. It's all right. I wasn't sure whether you needed a pink one. Anyway, second motion then, let's move on. Second motion relates to the dedicated web page and data dashboard on fly tipping for enhancing public transparency, education and accountability for perpetrators. Councillor Mark Ormston, before you move your motion, I believe you'd like to make a minor amendment to the text as it was published.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll defer the motion to the 29th.
You're deferring. Okay, thank you. So that motion is deferred.
So sorry, there isn't actually a mechanism for deferral, sorry. So can you propose to withdraw and someone will second?
I propose to withdraw, and I've got a funny suspicion my seconder of the motion will be happy to second that one.
Someone second? Second.
Right, seconded.
Sorry. And is that agreed?
So are we agreed for that to be withdrawn? Yes, okay, thank you.
Then he'll resubmit, yeah. And then the third one?
The third motion relates to human rights concerns. It's Azad Jammu and Kashmir and the impact on Peterborough residents. Councillor Amjad Iqbal, would you like to move your motion as set out on the agenda and obviously advise whether you go to the vote or you want to go to debate? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion is about people. It's about recognising that events overseas can have a real impact on families here in Peterborough. It is also about the values we all share: human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Let me be clear about what this motion does and what it does not do. It does not ask Peterborough City Council to make foreign policy. That is the responsibility of the UK government. What it does ask is that we acknowledge the concerns of our residents. Many people in Peterborough have close family in Jammu Azad Kashmir. When communications are disrupted or reports emerge of arrests and restrictions on peaceful protests, families here worry. They fear for the safety of loved ones. That anxiety is felt homes across our city. The motion does not seek to settle an international dispute. It does not ask us to judge every allegation. It simply reaffirms principles that should unite us all: respect for human rights, freedom of expression, peaceful assembly, and democratic engagement. It also asks us to take practical steps within our role as a local authority, to write to the Foreign Secretary, to work with our members of parliament and community representatives, and to continue supporting community cohesion in Peterborough. Some may question whether this belongs in the council chamber. I believe it does. When international events affect the lives of people we represent, they become a local issue too. Our role is not to conduct diplomacy. Our role is to speak up for our resident. The council has recognised the local impact of international events before. We should do so again. Not because we are taking sides, but because we are standing by the same principles and treating every community fairly. This motion is measured, it's balanced. Above all, it is about the people we serve. I ask members from all sides of the chamber to support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mohammed Jamil. Will you second the motion? Need to speak now or reserve your right to speak later?
Happy to second the motion. My ward colleague has said everything there is need to say, so I'm happy to move on, sir.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone want to debate or can go to vote? Councillor Murphy, you want to debate?
Yeah, just one point. In the notes 1 to 5, there's 2 points on the right to protest and human rights. I think we should ask the British government to note them as well. There are people getting locked up and sentenced for treason, terrorism charges, when that isn't what they were found guilty of in the UK. So we need to apply it at home as well as abroad.
Okay, that's not what's in the motion, though. So I'll take your opinion. Thank you. Can we go to vote on it? Okay. So it's agreed. Well done. Thank you very much. Right, that's the end of the meeting. Thank you very much. And all without penalties, I might add. Thank you. This is the end of today's meeting. Have a safe journey home. Thank you.